First of all, we made a detailed sketch. Then we start. Okay, we got some maple here from Nick's bed. Some nice trim design. Nice new 4x4 sheet of plywood. All right, quick parts done. Pick the best faces for the shelf and the drawer front. It's plywood, so even the best isn't the best, but that's all right. Picked out the pieces of trim that I think will fit. I'll have to figure out how to frame that drawer. I hope I have some maple that'll make that be long enough for the drawer face. A couple other options would be do 2 drawers, but I'll figure on that in a bit. Okay. So my design had for a 12-inch base and a 42-inch rack. I think I need to make the rack longer so it carries more of the rod, but I think I'm also going to make the base more like 9 inches. And that should let me, I think the important, the top's only going to have to be, it's going to have to be more like 2 inches wide instead of the 3 or 4. So 1, 2, about like that, and the rod will set inside the hole in the top. I think that'll get me the capture that I need on the rod. 9 inches just didn't look correct dimensionally, so 12 inches too high. I just went halfway between it, 10.5. Clamped this to beat the band, a couple screws in the waist pieces. This is the money cut for the project, so taped off the seams, hopefully to minimize tear out. Pretty tough with this this Home Depot grade pot plywood, so hopefully this cut works out all right. Well, the cut looks all right. Tear out, other than looks like my saw jiggered on me when it came out of the thing, but I think we can work with that. It's on the face, so that'll be covered up. All right, not too bad. Maybe we can live with that. Like, that cut's kind of aggravating me because of the ding in the side. I didn't cut it on the table saw because I was too lazy to make a jig because it was just one cut, but dang, if that isn't the way I should have done it, I'm gonna have to redo that. About 15 minutes hard work with a hand plane. I think that's down to a point where it won't be noticeable in the final product. Okay, I held these face down on a flat board with my glue and paint board. In order to register these sides together, I think I got a pretty good glue line there. Looking pretty good. Let's see how it comes out. Left side done. Right side done. Time for a break. With the edging on the 2 side pieces, I've just taped them together so that I can make them basically identical. The challenge isn't really whether it's 42 or 43 inches to make them both exactly the same. So this will allow me to cut them, trim off the sides, and the top, and make 2 identical pieces. All right, short of maybe the glued up product, this is actually one of the more exciting times for me. This is everything, I guess I'd call it a mock-up. There's no joinery done yet, so that's kind of the hard part is left, but shows the difference. That nice contrasting wood. It's just all set up to make sure everything's square, flush, trim. You have to do the little things like notching that molding to make sure that the frame fits super square. I got a couple scrap pieces in here to register for the joinery on the shelf. I think that's another wrap for today. After having everything, making sure everything was square and lined up, I did all the hash marks for the joinery, and now I'm starting to get a little cramped because it's with the clamps on the bottom. It's too tall for my bench, so moving it around to try to get the best angle on everything. Actually, the good news now is I get to take it apart with the Festool joinery in. It'll be able to assemble without the big clamps on the bottom that add a few inches of height. All right, here we go with the joinery. Yay! This will be the toughest cut with the domino jointer. Oh, here's a quick show. It's just like a router bit that comes out and plunges into both sides of the piece. So I've marked it using a square, super precise here, I hope. I'm going to lay this instead of on my workbench on my table saw to get the super flat setting. If I line the bottom of this, oops, let me use my hand, line the bottom of this piece up with the bottom of this temporary shelf here that I clamped in place, it should align perfectly. The slot should align perfectly with the, kind of precisely cut little dados I got here. So next piece, you see I clamped the crap out of this thing to make sure it's square, upright, as solid as I can make it, being, just the two big pieces so far. All right, let's see how it goes. The Festool domino joiner takes these little tenons, and I wanted a nice thick tenon that would support the pieces on this. Of course, they come in a length that's 10 millimeters too long, so boy, I cut them all down by hand last time I did a project, but I'm sure you can imagine my joy in getting to do this when you have a stack of them to make. So I made this little jig for my table saw where I can hold it down with the tip of a pencil and cut them all to size. So got that done now, so I can do the first rough assembly, or I guess is the second rough assembly. It's past the mock-up now, so it's actually going to be assembled the way it's going to get assembled, and start putting it together, see what it looks like. Alright, I'm not sure this looks from the outside any different from what I did before, but it lines up pretty nicely. Still nice and square. This is with the joinery. I still have these little spacers in here just to keep the alignment good and make sure it stays, again, super square as I do it next. I think next we get to sand it down, get rid of all the pencil marks, maybe pre-finish some parts of it to prep it for the glue up. Now, this is the third assembly. I don't know if I've ever counted the number of times I put something together. Third assembly, got all the pieces lined up, still good and square. Fitted the back. Got to make an extra depth. I thought I had a 1/4 inch board, but all I had was a half. I actually think the half will be better. It'll make it a little better bottom weighted. And my gosh, these plywood pieces are a tiny bit warped, so this will help. Super squared up together. Also had another little ding. I guess that'll be another Where's Walter moment for you, John. See, that one's going to be a little bit harder to fix than the other one, but we'll work it out. All right, looks like the 5th time's the charm. Got it all glued up, clamped up. Looking pretty good. Checked it the 16th time for square. Let's prove that real quick. So, dead nuts on square, that's good. And then we paused for a vacation. And then some deer hunting. And then another vacation. Alright, at this point I've made a face frame and squared that up. Tried to take the nicest or coolest piece of grain, put it where it'll be readily visible. And now it's just knock off the clamps and getting pretty close. Just need a top and some grooves or something for the bottoms of the poles. Oh, and a drawer. Okay. We got a little bit ahead of myself and didn't record everything, but I've turned and mounted it. And made some pretty simple legs just to get it up off the floor. I've put a couple coats of urethane on this. I think just one final sanding. The corners I still have to fix some door slides in there. So that's left unfinished, and I made a pretty simple drawer and set a little maple pole. I think I gotta do a little work on that, and finish the inside of the drawer. All right, after a couple times testing the fit of the screws for the rods, trying to make sure that they are able to stand up without whacking the wall too badly. I think I got something that'll work. I also added the little detail on the front of the top that matches the detail on the side of the box. So I think we're doing pretty well, pretty close to the end. Then I had to pause and take Jen to Nashville. All right, back working on our project now. First thing I had to do is rewire the lights so I could get something that was a little closer to the roof so I can fit the whole thing on my bench. After bringing the drawer in and out several times, I think I got everything fitted right. Now I have these drawer slides, a few swipes with a hand plane to bevel them, and the drawer fits really snug in the back. I placed them in with glue. Now I'm gonna throw the drawer in to help wedge them in place, and I put a little bit of tape on the edge of the drawer to create a tighter fit and to help protect it from getting all glued together. That'd suck. I wanted the rods to lean backwards, so I made this little place to set them in and drilled them at an angle using a jig I made from the offcut of the side, so it's at the same angle as the sides of the thing here. So I think that'll work. I am going to make that easy to remove somehow. Maybe just screwing it in. But I think it seems to work. I decided to attach the top with Kreg screws. That allowed me to glue down the back of the back side of it, because that can be fixed up here with the cross piece. And I put a couple screws on the side, and I really elongated the slots up here, so it's a pretty small piece of maple, but if it does move, it's a pretty wide grain, so if it does move, this screw will be able to move backward and forward. And hopefully everything will hold in place and be pretty good. Well, that kind of wraps things, and other than a little bit more sanding, I did most of my sanding this morning, and some finishing. Here are the finished products inside my spray house. Got a little tent set up in my basement that Christine got me for Christmas, so I can spray things and worry a little bit less about dust. Woo-hoo. Closing in, you'll get the video soon. Well, here it is, finally, not almost done, but actually done. It was a super fun project, and glad to be finished and ready for my next adventure.